Hello viewers, how are you doing? It's Super GT here now. Yes, it's the Carrera GT once again. I'm absolutely loving this car right now, and I thought I'd give it another run around in S-Class around Daytona this time. And heading into the first corner, this track has come up a fair few times recently, and you'll see my method doesn't change. Just hang on to the inside line, hope that someone behind you doesn't absolutely ram the hell out of you, if that doesn't sound too sexual, and most of the time you actually get through many positions. You can see that I've just gone from about 18th to 5th, which is honestly ridiculous. And then this part confused me because I didn't know which way we're going, and then the curb decided to absolutely murder me. And this is how you rejoin. Don't rejoin at 90 degrees and then just have a look behind and rejoin at a nice beautiful angle. No one died there in that rejoin, which might be one of the rare few times that has ever happened. So Carrera GT onto the oval here at Daytona. This is my preferred Daytona layout. There's a couple of Daytona layouts. This I think is the best one. I think the chicane at the back here, it kind of breaks it up a little bit, and it doesn't mean that people in just these absolute missile cars will just win the race, which, I mean, fair enough if you use them, but I prefer races where the cars are a bit more kind of even. But you know, that's just me. Just trying to keep onto the curb there as we go through that turn. We're going to fast forward to the end of that because obviously it's the oval, nothing really happens. Back into the first turn in 7th place, so we're doing okay at the moment. From near enough the back of the pack at the start of the race, look up the inside of the BBLM, get on the brakes nice and early, and he just about runs wide, and that's going to hand me my favourite position. But we do have another lap and a half here to try and regain a couple of positions, or just gain a couple of positions. I reckon we should ban Super GT. Look, he's just clearly a corner cutter, and he preaches all this clean racing and then he just cheats himself. What an absolute noob this guy is. Anyway, we are slowly gaining on this little group ahead. We have a little train of 3 cars here. Looks like second has got away a little bit. First and second have, well, actually they're not too far away, but it's probably a bit too late to try and catch up with them. Now this moment here was fairly hairy actually. You see 3 of us in very close proximity, actually 2 side by side, and we actually managed to go through there without crashing. And that's actually testament to actually these guys' skill here, being able to get around that corner without crashing and dying. Can be fairly tricky because I like to roll the thumbstick when I go through the oval. Just go past this guy on the exit. So as I go through these ovals, I just roll the thumbstick, so you can see it should be fairly smooth, the movement. But when you're right next to someone, I don't like to do that because it's fairly risky just in case they make a sudden move. It can be quite hard to react. As we go through into 3rd place, this guy's going to come back at me and retake it, and back down into 4th as we go towards the first turn for the last time. Brakes fairly early, but then again he probably did have to. And that kind of car, I did brake quite early as well, but just making sure I don't brake too late, which is a lot worse often. Now I'm in a safe 3rd there, developed a nice gap very quickly, and then at the end this guy tries to be a joker and crash into me, but you know what, I liked going over this grass and rolling the car. This is the most fun way to finish at Daytona, of course. Sliding the car into a nice sideways spin. Look at that guy behind me. Absolutely killed himself as well. And if that fence had real physics, I think a couple of people in the crowd would have been dead too. But we move then, still in the Carrera GT. It's going to be a Carrera GT video for you as we move into Nürburgring in the wet. Now this guy in the Corvette's just going to go flying in, and then, oh my god, guy in the Audi R8 comes weighing in out of nowhere like John Cena and just totally obliterates Paul Walker. I think that was the true cause of his death. Now these guys are just going to push me for no reason. I'm trying to brake and slow down, and then he's just like, no, I want to go towards this wall, thank you. And then he just kills himself. That's another death. And then this guy on my inside, oh, he's ghosted, it's the Audi again. And then, well, I'm through in 4th, so I started about there, so I guess not too bad. I didn't get totally killed and raped at the first turn, which is surprising really, because Nürburgring I would rate Nürburgring first turn as actually one of the worst in the game. I'm trying to think of a worse first corner. I think Nürburgring GP might be the one, might be the #1 worst corner. But I'd definitely like to know what you think, because there are other tracks which are pretty horrible as well. Like Laguna Seca, that one's just pure death. Long Beach, that can be pure death as well. That's very narrow. Well, to be honest, all of them can be pure death because it's Forza, and it's Forza people playing Forza. So when you've got that recipe, any track, even a straight line, can just cause just absolute anarchy and carnage. So it doesn't actually really matter what the track is. It just matters about the drivers, who are driving like idiots most of the time. But anyway, I'm up into third, and we are behind, actually not too far behind, a couple of guys here. As we come up towards the chicane at the end of the lap, looking for the first braking marker on the right hand side there. That's going to set us up nicely for the chicane. We've got two Ferraris then, a BBLM and the F50 ahead of us as we come into the final turn. I do actually really like using the Porsches now. It's weird because I kind of thought that having these sponsors for the Forza Racing Championship, it would never really change my opinion on the cars. But the Porsche are actually, because I've used them so much, I kind of like them now. And that GT2 RS, the cover car for Forza 7, I'm really liking that. I mean, I'd actually, if I had enough money, I would actually consider getting one. Obviously, it's not possible now because there's only 100 of them and they've all been sold out. But definitely keeping one eye on Porsches now. Whereas before I wasn't really all that into them. But I'm up into second now, easily past the F50 on the main straight. Clearly doesn't have enough speed, and this guy ahead, not quite aware of the puddles through here. I guess that's what practice does for you, because I've been practicing for this track for the FRC finals, and I know exactly where all the puddles are. There are a couple here. I mean, there's a massive one on the right hand side there, and he's going to try and go through it, but he's just going to get no drive as we come towards the downhill section, towards the hairpin. And then, well, at the end of the race, that's pretty much all that happened, because it was an easy finish, and I finished about 2 and a bit seconds ahead. So we're going to move to a very, very close race between myself and a guy called SLR Punisher, who, let me say, I'll say this now, this guy was like really fast. He was not messing around at all. We had a race around the Nürburgring GP, sorry, around Nürburgring Nordschleife, and just the Nürburgring, not the Nordschleife GP version as well. And he was doing like 646, and I was absolutely pushing it, and I only managed a 648. So this guy, yeah, he's seriously fast, driving the Celine S7, and we're going to have a nice little battle here around Watkins Glen. This is the alternate version, so we didn't have to go through that chicane just now. And well, it's just going to be a really good race, I think. And well, let me walk you through it, shall we? As we come through the left-hander towards the toe turn. Again, I've said this so many times, it's one of the hardest turns in the game, I think. But in these heavier cars, it can not be too bad. You just want to kind of follow the contours of that lighter coloured tarmac and minimise your wheel spin on the exit. You can actually minimise the wheel spin simply because it is an uphill corner, and the car kind of digs in a little bit, and you make use of the camber. But coming into the last couple of turns, I think on the brakes, this is where I was gaining slightly. You would have seen in a very recent video against GTR South, he was driving a Celine S7 around Catalonia, and I was also gaining on him on the brakes. But the Celine just has such good traction and acceleration out of the turns. That is really its main strength, I think. Although through that last turn, the Porsche here easily matching it. I think that the tune here by Car Lightning it can be very tricky to handle. The name is in the description, by the way, if you want to make this, or if you want to download this tune as well. The car does slide a lot if you're not very good on the throttle, managing the throttle. That's with traction control off. But if you can just about manage it, and depending on the corner as well, then it is a bit of a rocket coming out of the turns. Now we're just going to tuck into the slipstream, and he does have very good straight line speed here, so it's probably a slightly different tune than what South was using in the recent video. Under brakes again, you can see just closing up slightly and just looking for an overtaking spot. This can be a good overtaking spot, but ideally you do want to be alongside before you start braking, and I wasn't quite alongside there. Although judging it at the moment, as you're going along in these races, you're kind of trying to work out what's my car's strength and what is the other guy's strength. So clearly I've established one already. Mine over here is his braking. My braking's a bit better. I think his traction is better. So if I can get somewhere close at going into a braking zone somewhere, then I probably do have a chance of lunging up the inside with my superior brakes. Well, we're going to have to see on that. So the Saleen there, it's always been a good car, I think, for A and S class, depending on the game, of course, because A and S class sometimes have been different, and the Saleen kind of interchanges between some classes. But I think mainly in S class, that is where it was really strong indeed. As we come into the final turn, it's going to get very close. It's been very close the whole way through here, but it's not as if he's holding me up. I am literally trying my absolute hardest here, and all I'm able to do really is just simply stay on his tail and hope that he makes a mistake. But judging by his performance around the Nürburgring Nordschleife, he was just unflappable. He just simply did not make any mistakes at all, and that is definitely a good lesson that you'll learn as you play Forza a lot more, not to feel pressure from people behind. You just simply have to just focus on your braking points. Once you know your braking points, I think everything becomes so much easier in this game. It really does. Once you know exactly where to brake, just brake there, and then it doesn't matter what the other guy does. He'll probably make a mistake, and then you'll be okay. Now coming through the long right-hander of 4, this is a good overtaking spot. You can see how close I am, but I just accelerated a tiny bit too early, and I'm going to go over the grass a little bit, and it's going to put me out of position to go for that move into this turn. That might have been my best opportunity so far, but we are still very close behind, so there is still more chances to come in this race, although we are running out of time and running out of corners to do it. So again, through there just a bit sideways, just was not able to quite manage the throttle as well as I would have liked. The Saleen just driving away slowly there, developing a nice 100 feet gap, so there's no way I can lunge from that far back. So definitely looking for a mistake right now, I think, because he's been absolutely untouchable so far. Just haven't quite had the pace so far to try and go for that move. Tyres slowing me down. I hate the fact that they do that. It's absolutely ridiculous. These tyres just coming on the track, slowing you down when you hit them. Into the final turn, he goes a little bit deep actually. He's taken a really weird line through there, and he's just going to graze the wall. And up in the run up to the line, it's going to be very close indeed, and just about not able to win it. Less than a tenth of a second between us on the line. But overall, that was a really good race between us, and our fastest lap was within a tenth as well. So absolutely a neck and neck there between the two of us. So a really good race, really good to be part of that one, and I do hope you enjoyed it as well. Do subscribe if you enjoyed, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, do comment down below if you have any thoughts, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.